You're listening to Hear the Chew Bubblegum, recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains.
Greetings.
We come in peace.
And episode 29, we are here, Cronkite.
That just gets you pumped up.
How did you like that new intro? That's a switch up from our terrestrial radio. That's our terrestrial radio intro.
And not extraterrestrial, but terrestrial.
Okay, yeah. Whatever.
I was excited. I mean, that pumped me up. I'm ready to go.
Well, good. It's about time something pumps your lazy ass up.
That's not very nice.
What?
It's not very nice.
It has been a while since we've been here to do a Sunday show.
It has
been like, what, a month?
Yeah, because your lazy ass sits at home in the
really?
bed all day.
No. That is not true. Somebody is starting a new company called
BS.
Fat Man in a Minivan.
That's exactly right.
And he had to go out.
Fat Man in a little van.
Okay.
Get it right.
All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. But if you need, what do you haul?
Anything. It's a courier service.
Out of this world deals.
If we're out of this
contact Cronkite.
That's exactly right.
So how's everything else going?
It's going pretty good. How are you been?
I've been great. I want to thank Elliot and the Spooky family for co-hosting and filling in for us last week. They did a great job.
Fantastic show.
And we'll probably have them do that again maybe in September, October, something like that.
They are very funny and have excellent chemistry.
Now, and I said this on the radio show too, whoever came up with that intro idea where the NWO music kicked in, that person is a genius.
I mean, I guess that's It was all right, but I mean, I'm not gonna call him a genius.
All right. What about the recent gas prices? What do you think about that?
I think it's stupid. It's just something else for somebody to panic about and make more money
and buy everything. Yeah, definitely. I went by Food City in our area Friday, and all their pumps had bags on them. There was no one in the little
and what
booth.
What blows my mind is they announce, hey, there could be a gas shortage. And then everybody panic buys, and they cause a gas shortage because they're stupid.
Well, hey, look at it this way. If something does happen after last year when they went out and bought toilet paper and gas, they're going to have a clean ass, and their car is going to be full.
Yeah.
Right?
Can we address the monkey or the elephant in the room? Why did what was the toilet paper? Why was everybody hoarding toilet paper?
I have no clue, buddy. I have no clue.
What? Why?
But in the zombie apocalypse, if you have toilet paper and I have a gun and toilet paper.
That's true.
So,
but I mean, in all seriousness, though, like, what was the point of hoarding the toilet paper?
I have no clue. Coming up, July 31st, this year, 2020, the Pikeville Toy and Comic Con returns to the Appalachia Wireless Arena. For more information, you can check out their website, PikevilleComicCon.net. They also have a Facebook page set up, or you can contact the E-Comic and Tech Store on Facebook or call 606-263-4946 for more information. And we will be there, my friend. What do you think about that?
I'm ready. I'm excited. I look forward to it. I like going just as a spectator to that, but now I'm going to be there, and I'm going to get to aggravate everyone, and that makes me happy.
Yes. We got some special guests sitting in the studio.
We do.
Before we get to them, I had an idea the other day, and I wanted to get your opinion of this.
Oh, God.
We have people that listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that if somebody needed people, if they had bad news to tell somebody, what do you think if they could email us or call us and tell us what the bad news is, and give us the contact information for the person and let us contact that person and tell them the bad news on their behalf.
Unlike recorded.
Yes. Yes, so Evan will play it on the show.
I like it. Hey, this is Cronkite and Goose. We're calling to let you know that
You're
you
fired.
have been broken up
So,
with.
But,
Contact
you know, if
606-373-3396.
if any listeners or business owners have any bad news and they want us to break it to whoever, you can contact us by calling 606-373-3396 or email heretechewbubblegum@yahoo.com and in the subject line put bad news.
That's exciting. I think that'll be hilarious.
Thank you very much. I do too. Now, without further ado, please introduce our guest.
All right, so sitting next to me, I have Old Man Cronkite. Listeners of the show way back when we first started may recognize him. He did one show, helped me with the news once. He is joining us.
That was the best news segment too, by the way.
It was, and he is joining us in studio today to help us with the show. And with him today is the lovely Pamela Anderson.
Hello.
Very nice, very nice.
And now she is a ghost connoisseur. Would that be right?
Yes.
She likes the hauntings and the strange spirit stuff and stuff. And she actually has some really good stories that hopefully maybe we'll get into today. If not, then some other time
definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. Pamela, welcome. Old Man Cronkite, welcome.
Thank you. Before we get
We're
started,
glad to be here.
Before we get started going any further, I want to send a big birthday shout out to Old Man Cronkite. He turns 908 years old tomorrow.
Dude, you are an ass. Why would you say 908 years old?
Because that's how old he is.
No, it's
He's
not.
throwing me under the bus. He might as well throw in a couple of gimps and retards under there with me. Oh my God.
We're good, man. We're good. We're still going. We're still rolling. So
Jesus Christ.
we're good.
You don't say that.
I can.
we can say that.
Yeah.
We can say that.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah.
I didn't call anybody out.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Well, this show has gone
Is
tits
this
up
on?
quick.
Let's let this go a little farther. It is also Cronkite's birthday. He was born on my birthday.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, happy
so
birthday,
now it comes
Cronkite.
Well, thank you. Happy birthday,
Hey,
Old Man
yeah.
Cronkite.
And
Supposed to have a cake.
Yeah.
I
would-
And he had a son.
you
instead.
were probably the most disappointing present ever.
I think so. Yeah.
So.
He didn't get
Well-
birthdays after that.
I quit having birthdays when he was born. So I'm 30 years old right now.
Yeah.
There you go. He always gives me a hard time and calls me an old man.
You are old.
Oh, dude, I'm not much older than you.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Not at all.
Ridiculous. You are.
No. Do you want to start out with some listener email?
Sure.
Before you do, we're very happy to have Old Man Cronkite and Pamela here. Thank you guys very much. And they're going to hang out and be here the whole show.
Yes, indeed. They're going to help us out and let us know what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right. And
I can tell you exactly what you do wrong.
listen, it's not for you to decide. It's not like you're the listener. You're just a sack of shit. Wondering from Florida says,
Wow, we're so wonderfully happy to be here today.
Elliot, you did a good job. I'm curious, if you and the family take off, are you going to have Goose and Cronkite fill in for you, Roswell to all?
That is a very good question. And we do have a lot of Elliot's articles or the Spooky Family questions, and I've forwarded those to him. And if they do take off and want us to host, we'll definitely host the Spooky Family show.
Definitely.
Dixon09 says, hey, everyone. Wow, last week's show was great. It threw me off right from the beginning. Genius. Elliot and the Spooky Family did a great job. Very entertaining and informative. Goose and Cronkite, don't tease Elliot because he got a little emotional. You can tell that he is the real deal. I hope that he continues to do his articles when his sister podcast starts. Keep it up and tell Ned that I said hello, Roswell. And then Pamela's got some email to read for us, too.
I do. James from Kentucky. Elliot, Greta, and Beagle, great job co-hosting the show. I don't believe the Back to the Future 9/11 conspiracy, but it was very intriguing. Would you like to read one, Old Man Cronkite? Are you sure?
So Dempsey says, hello, Hitter Chew Bubblegum. It's been a while since I've written. If you guys have to be sure to check out the lights. If you guys have time, be sure to check out The Lights in the Sky on Amazon Prime. Good watch, a lot of footage I haven't seen before. Good narration and well made. Have a good weekend, y'all. Roswell.
Luke from Kentucky, and this is our friend Luke. And I have a video to show you during break, old Man Cronkite, that is fascinating.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
And let's see, coming up too in the show, we'll talk more about Luke. But this was a text. I'm sorry. He says, I got the Jacob's Ladder going. Still need more experimentation, but it's fun to play with. Haven't tried throwing anything in it yet, as I still need the laser. I've been listening to the original Art Bell show with Mike. It's interesting. We do have an update during segment 1 on Luke Fugit and the Jacob's Ladder that he did make.
Okay.
And Rhonda from West Virginia says, I missed Goose and Cronkite last week, but they could have picked anyone better to fill in. You did a great job, Elliot.
He definitely did.
Thank you very much. Rita
Rita from Indiana says, hey, here to Chew Bubblegum. The last few shows have been really good ear candy. I love the Ingersoll Lockwood special, and last week's show was amazing. I can't wait for the Spooky Family show to start.
Jeremy says, hello, Goose and Cronkite. Any update on the Randonautica videos? As of now, we have no update. We have not done that yet.
They want to see us, Goose.
They want to see you get out and hike.
I'm not hiking.
Well, you have to.
You don't.
You know, dude, I am sorry if you pass out. I'm not doing mouth to mouth on you.
Right, that's why
you
I'm
are on your own.
Not doing hiking, but we are going to go
Mouth
to
to
the
snout?
Huh?
Mouth to snout?
Mouth to snout. Yeah, exactly. But no, we are going to do Randonautica.
Very soon.
We do need to get together and
plan that out.
Yeah, because
hopefully sometime in June we'll do that and we'll throw that up on the YouTube page.
because it's a very fun game and you don't have to walk as much.
Okay,
I'm not walking.
I figured as much.
I'm not doing it. I'll sit in the car and let
I'm not walking either.
somebody has to
So we know.
somebody has to tell the people what happened. So I'm just going to be that guy.
Dude, you have to get out and walk.
Not doing it.
Okay.
This is an interesting one. I can't wait to read it.
Okay.
This is from Bonds.
Okay.
Just wanted to let everyone know that my husband and I almost had a near-death experience yesterday. Also, I want to inform you guys that if you ever have a new AC unit put in your house, or whatever you live in, please make doggone sure you have a qualified inspector to make sure that you guys will not go through the near-death experience that that my husband and I went through. And be safe and strong, and we love you guys.
Now I'm curious as to what the near-death experience was.
I don't know. She didn't tell us.
You have to write back in and let us know. Now,
Definitely.
You can't leave us on a cliffhanger
I
like that.
know. That was from Bond, so you need to write in and tell us
Thank you
more
very much,
info.
Bonds. Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
And what's your dog have to do with it?
Tanya from Kentucky says, hello, gentlemen. I've been hospitalized recently with COVID. It has been tough, but I think I'm on the upswing. Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, Tanya. I hope everything's working up. I've been getting caught up on the show, and I want to say you all are continually getting better. Elliot is spinning off into his own show. That is great. I hope you all stay a team and continue to make your shows together when you have a chance. Where is Ned? We need more Ned. See, Ned has a fan base, but he just...
Well, now Ned has pre-recorded a lot of
Yeah.
Ned Saids. I think we're running out of those, though.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to get Ned back in the studio very soon.
Ned doesn't come around much anymore. What'd you say to him?
He comes around all the time when I'm here in the bunker by myself.
It must be me.
It must be you.
The Spooky Family is pretty entertaining. I enjoy listening to their content as well. I can't wait till the next roundtable shows. Love you guys, Tanya.
And we are in preparation for that right now with this pre-roundtable show.
Yeah, this is a mini roundtable.
Let's see, I've got one more here. Hannah from Ohio says, hello, everyone. It's my first time writing in. I'm interested in knowing more about the different alien life forms. I know of the Greys, so what others are out there? Please share any knowledge you may have as to who they are, where they're from, Roswell. Let's see, you've got the Greys, you've got the Talls.
No, there's supposed to be like seven versions of the Greys.
Yeah.
So there's 7 versions of the Greys. I don't know exactly where they're from. Interdimensional, I think, is what we read.
Yeah. And then you've got the
Reptilians.
and the Talls. right?
Right.
The little short ones. What are they called? The little green men.
I'm not sure, but that's where the Hopkinsville goblins
Goblin
came
came from.
So probably Little Green Men.
There's several as you know, from where they come from. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've had read some stuff on the Blue Avians, the Nordics.
Yeah. Aren't the Nordics the Anunnaki?
I think so.
Yeah. And they're supposedly from what?
The Anunnaki are the tall that came in hybrid bred with them
Yeah.
back in the Egyptian times.
And supposedly in World War II, that's the Nazis were trying to make a perfect race, and that was.
That's what Enoch, the Egyptian pharaoh that's weird shaped. He's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Akhenaten. No. Oh well. I can't think of it. Akhenaten.
That's it.
Huh. I didn't know that.
And he's supposed to be a hybrid.
Yeah.
He's
he
weird
was King
shaped.
Tut's father.
Yes, King Tut's father.
Oh, okay.
And but they're supposed to have an elongated head.
Right. Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
he had a weird shaped body. Changed all their gods from what they worship to the sun god.
Right.
And
To a single
Does that drive you crazy?
No.
no, I'm sorry.
No.
It's family tradition.
He can do it anytime he wants to.
But
You
they
can't.
also, they also, after his rule, just like Joseph Stalin, all the people went back and defaced everything. They took his image off of a lot of the stuff he was on.
Right.
Do we have? Do you have another email?
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
is
I
it?
have
Okay.
one last one from Benjamin. Great show. Looking forward to the new show, Elliot. Roswell.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for the emails.
Thank you very much for those emails. You leave old man Cronkite alone.
I was just saying, lean into the mic.
You just learned that like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well,
So-
and now I'm an old pro at it.
Doesn't Cronkite have an issue with touching the mics anyway?
Yes,
He's
yes,
got
he
like
does.
But
he's got like a
these new mics,
fetish.
yeah, these new mics, you can't even hear it when I touch it, so it's awesome.
Oh, so you could touch it and get away with it.
But now those mics they'll pick up.
Okay.
See, like they'll hear it through the table.
Yeah, like I said, I can edit all this out. We want to thank everyone for writing in and reaching out. And if they want to contact us, how can they do that, Cronkite?
Well, they can reach out to us if they want to call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396. You can leave us a voicemail, and as long as it's clean and not terrible, we'll play it on the show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, as long as
Yes.
it's not terrible. Don't make
Yes.
fun of me. Don't make fun. Well, you can make fun of Goose. It'll be kind of funny. But you can also email us, goose@heretochewbubblegum.com, or Cronkite, that's me, @heretochewbubblegum.com. You can reach Ned or Elliot by putting Ned or Elliot in the subject line, heretochewbubblegum@yahoo.com. We also have several social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We're pretty socially out there.
Yes. And if you want us to break bad news to somebody, all you have to do is you can email us here to chewbubblegum@yahoo, in the subject line put bad news, and we will break bad news to whoever you need us to.
And I can't honestly wait until we get to do that.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with some UFO, UAP news, a Luke Fugit update, and what story do you have for us?
Well, I've got a couple of different stories. So we talked about the simulation theory a while back, and I've got kind of an MIT professor says that we are living a simulation, and then I'm going to talk about an article that I saw on Stephen Greer's Instagram from the New York Times.
All right, sounds good. What are we listening to?
You listen to Here to Chew Bubblegum.
And we'll be right back.
When you want fresh, authentic Mexican food, you want El Picante in Coal Run. Dine on sizzling hot fajitas, the freshest pico de gallo, or if you're craving their secret ingredient jalapeno dip, the only place you'll find it is El Picante. Look, there are Mexican restaurants on every corner. The difference is in the mouth-watering food and the great service you'll get at El Picante in Coal Run. Visit El Picante for lunch today.
And welcome back to Here to Chew Bubblegum. I am Cronkite. That handsome, fine-feathered friend of mine across the table is Goose. And sitting next to me, old man Cronkite. And next to him is Pamela.
Hello.
Love that voice. Love that voice.
I know, right? How is everyone doing?
Finer and frog hair.
Finer and frog hair.
I'm doing great, buddy.
I was doing pretty good till the old joke started.
Listen, I don't mean to do old jokes. They just come out. I apologize.
Yeah, well, your time's coming.
Yeah, well, I know.
You have never told me you didn't mean to do old jokes.
Yeah, because I mean to do them to you.
Oh,
I don't mean to do them to my dad.
well,
I know,
sorry, buddy.
I know he's old.
I'm sorry. We're going to start out this segment talking about some UFO, UAP news.
You don't know you're old yet, though.
I'm going to deal with you after the show.
Dude, you are 15 minutes away from the senior citizens buffet at Shoney's.
So, there is no Shoney's around here anymore.
Not anymore, but
Thank God.
You didn't like their hot fudge cake?
Ooh.
she said,
No, it was one of them places where all these people would just go in there and they're on chairs on wheels and they could just wheel up to the buffet
Yeah.
and grab them a handful of chicken and wheel back to their table.
Blow the horn.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to is retirement. I want to be in my little rascal. Wheel up there and
I can go ahead and get you a little
Your hover
rascal
round.
now.
grab me a handful of chicken. And,
You go into the Grand Canyon on your hover
yeah,
round.
I'm going to stand at the edge and squall out.
I can go ahead and get you a rascal now, man. You know, if you want a rascal.
I mean, I want to get one. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good. What we'll do in this segment, we'll talk about UFO, UAP news. We'll do the story you had. Which one are you going to do for us?
Well, I'm going to do simulation theory or simulation story, and then we'll there's a
Well, we'll save that one for the segment too, if you want to.
yeah.
And then we'll give a Luke Fugit update.
All righty.
Does that sound good? And as I read some of these, if y'all have questions or something to add, just jump in. That does not go for you.
Okay.
A UFO UAP update. Former Navy Lieutenant Ryan Graves says he and other members of his FA-18 fighter squadron detected strange, maneuverable, and unidentified objects in the restricted airspace southwest of Virginia Beach nearly every 2 years or so, beginning in 2015. The sightings were so common, he says pilots and their crews began to take them for granted. Graves is calling those objects a threat to security in a 60 Minutes interview. Graves is one of several current and former military members who have spoken publicly about what the Pentagon now calls unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. Those documented sightings of UAP recorded on a gun camera, video, and photos taken by U.S. service members have been analyzed by the Defense Department for years, but the government only now is acknowledging that the internal efforts after unclassified voices of the UAP were leaked to the New York Times in 2017. Now, the Senate Intelligence Committee has ordered the Director of National Intelligence and the Secretary of Defense to compile a report on unidentified aerial phenomenon to be delivered next month. I am worried, frankly. You know, if these were tactical jets from another country that were hanging up out there, it would be a massive issue, Graves told Bill Whitaker in a 60 Minutes interview airing tonight on 60 Minutes. But because it looks slightly different, we're not willing to actually look at the problem in the face. We're just happy to ignore the fact that these are out there watching us every day. Graves continued to say, I would say, the highest probability is It's a threat observation program, Graves said. He wouldn't rule out the possibility that this could be Russian or Chinese technology. And again, the whole interview and special report airs tonight on the 60 Minutes program on CBS at 7 p.m. Now, what's your thoughts on that, old man Cronkite?
Well, as far as the technology, things like that, I don't think it's the Russians. I don't think it's the Chinese.
I don't either.
And here's my thinking. They usually wait till we invent something or perfect something, and then they steal it and copy it.
Right.
Reverse.
So here we are, we're seeing all this stuff out here. It may be our military, and if it is, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But it's also, the universe is too big. There's got to be other people in it.
Right. Well, and even a couple of weeks ago, they said that these were classified as unknowns.
Right.
Now, if that was our military, do you think that, and this story leaked out in 2017, do you think that they would still say that they're unknowns?
Probably, just depending on the technology, what they're actually working
Right.
on. They may say, let's keep this secret as long as we can. Because, we started out doing the stealth back in the 70s.
Yes.
And, didn't really come out till like at the end of the 80s. And then you got, stealth fighter, stealth bomber, and all this. Now you're seeing the Chinese, the Russians, they all have their own stealth fighters, So they're behind us. And they're probably just trying to keep, technology is secret as long as they can. But there again, I'm thinking if they do have that technology, they got it from somewhere. They've copied it from somewhere.
Exactly.
Just
exactly.
like the
Reverse
Russians and the
engineering.
Chinese. They found something crashed or a alien
They
species
got it
have
from somewhere.
given it to us. Probably for I don't know. Being able to abduct people for years.
Years and years. Well, and do you think the same?
I think if the U.S. government had something out there that they said was unidentified, I think it's unidentified because they would come up with some stupid weather balloon.
Yeah. Well, we
Theory.
hear that one a lot.
If if it was something that our government is doing that's top secret, they would come out and say, "Yeah, well, that's something we're working on or something." I think with it being unidentified, it is truly unidentified. I think we're arrogant if we think we're the only persons in this universe
Yes.
or outside that's floating around out there. And I think there's proof enough.
Now, we've said on the show, and I want to get your guys' take on this. The government has said time and time again that UFOs do not exist. They're now saying that UAPs do exist, that they're unknown, and the government itself has named them UAPs. Do you think they did that so they can save face a little bit?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think the same thing, and I think you do too as well.
Yeah, I think
Because when you've been told for 70 years UFOs don't exist, but UAPs do, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Definitely,
Right.
definitely. And I have to agree with old man Cronkite there when we talk about, the Russians and the Chinese, they'll copy something someone else has made. That has to be something we're doing, reverse engineering the Black Forest incident, Roswell, whatever. And after World War II, let's not forget that our secret government or or the secret scientists that they had worked for us then.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that.
I've been doing some research over our break when we, pre-recorded a bunch of shows, and we'll be talking about this later on this summer. But the first crash, supposedly in the U.S., that was recovered, not the one from the 1890s in Texas.
Farmland,
Was like I think in 1943. And you've got a lot of crashes that took place in Trinity, New Mexico. And, that is where the first nuclear bomb was tested at. But you have like 7 or 8 in like a 7-year span, and they're all crashed right around that area. Yeah. So, something had to get their attention,
Well, it's just like when we were speaking on the radio show that will be aired tonight, later this evening. I don't want to give anything away, but at the same time,
Go ahead.
we essentially talk about that's where you see a lot of alien intervention is where there are missiles and there are the weapons of war.
Yeah,
Sure.
and we've talked about that.
Sure.
You know, you've got nuclear sites, you've got power plants, bodies of water. For some reason, this is where they seem to get activity. You know, in the story I just read, that was on the coast. Virginia, over the ocean.
Which now that whole area is kind of weird in itself.
Well, the whole state of Virginia is kind of weird in itself.
The whole Northeast
So,
is weird in itself. But I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was going to say, I think China proved to us last week that they're not real techie
no.
when it comes to spaceships. And,
Or just pieces of rocket falling down around us.
and we don't know. It might.
Yeah. Well, no. And what I was saying is like there's a not a no-fly zone, but there's often a military operation or practice or whatever going off just off the coast all the time. If you remember when I spoke about TWA Flight 800, that was essentially like a no-fly zone where it skirted across their practice field, and that's where the conspiracy that TWA Flight 800 was shot down, mistakenly, of course, not intentionally. But then on 9/11, there was also in the same area, the same thing going on. So that's when you kind of think of what's actually going off just off the coast of the United States. Is it just practice, or I don't know?
Well, all right. Let me ask all three of you this: do you trust the government?
No.
And I giggled a little bit as I said that.
don't.
I'm sorry. No,
I think the government
Me
has
neither.
their own agenda in they're looking out for number one. They want to keep whatever they can keep to keep them in power.
Well, I'm all right. Me personally, and we don't talk politics on the show.
Right.
I am going to mention a president from the 80s that I think, in my opinion, was a great president, and I'm talking about Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Because, number one, he constantly searched for answers on UFOs.
Yes, and we actually got a lot of
He had a sighting.
Yes,
Yeah,
he had several
Yes.
sightings.
and
Yes.
possibly abducted.
Yes.
And also
In
in
his
the diary, yeah.
He wrote in like 1986 that he had talked to U.S. scientists, and he was amazed that our space program had a shuttle?
It was he called it a shuttle.
Yeah, he called it a shuttle, but it could orbit 300 people in space. And this was in 1986. Okay, you didn't have smartphones back then. Plus, Ronald Reagan also said some of the most dangerous words you can ever hear is, "I'm from the government,
I'm here to help.
and I'm here to help you."
Yeah. Well, and as large as our shuttles were, our civilian shuttles for NASA,
At that time,
At
what,
the
you
time.
could hold 5, 6, 7 maybe?
and I don't even think if
So-
the cargo bay was empty that you could hold close to 300.
No.
They're huge, but they're not that
huge.
big. So he wasn't obviously talking about our shuttles, or
Well,
the shuttles that we knew of.
That we knew of.
Right. So it's strange, and the fact that he reaches out to Gorbachev and asks, "Hey, if we have a hostile alien force,
Yes.
will you help us?"
Right.
Yes.
That screams worlds to me.
And then his UN address, he even started out by saying, sometimes, and I'm paraphrasing here, sometimes I think, what this world needs is a threat from an outside force to unify everybody.
Yes. Well, now that kind of goes a little bit with the Stephen Greer documentary that I was talking about, where he talks about that our government has the ability to throw a false flag operation of an alien invasion. So I'm wondering if he is kind of alluding to that back then.
And I'm going to be honest, when you first mentioned that on the show, a couple months ago, I kind of giggled. I'm like, yeah, sure. I've since done a little bit more research on that, and I think it's very possible that the government could fake a alien invasion.
Absolutely.
Well, but no, I don't think it will be the U.S. government. It will be
The new world.
shadow government
Right.
behind, that actually has this technology
Right.
and is using this.
All right, and I might take some heat from this. In today's day and time with the government, can you tell the difference between the legitimate government and the shadow government?
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't recognize the U.S. government from what I did 15 years ago.
No.
Even 15 years ago. And granted, I've not lived as long as you have, of course, Goose. But I don't. I just don't. It seems like there has been a major change, especially after the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I watched a program recently where there was a theory that Lyndon Johnson actually was the first president who met with alien forces. And pretty much they had a agreement, you don't bother us, and we won't bother you.
Right.
We can still come and view and do the things we've always done, but we won't attack you or anything like that. I thought that was interesting. Lyndon Johnson, of all presidents.
That is interesting. And he was supposedly, Kennedy was assassinated because he knew too much
Yes.
about that. And Marilyn
Yes.
Monroe as well.
Yes. Well, that was mafia, I think.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's something else you got to. I see. Ben Rich, he was the head of Skunk Works, Lockheed Skunk Works, and I think he passed away in the late '90s or something like that. But on his deathbed, he said, "We have the technology to take ET home," which tells me that they have black projects that nobody knows about.
Right.
That and so they could be, that may be what we're seeing.
Right.
Is them out there flying around.
And going back to Reagan just a little bit, there was a rumor years ago that Reagan told Steven Spielberg when they viewed the movie E.T. in the White House, he told him in private, you don't know how close you got that. Now, that was a rumor, but in 2011, Steven Spielberg confirmed that and said, yes, that was true. Reagan did tell him that.
I wonder what part they were talking about.
I don't know. Reagan was big, the Star Wars and all that. He was all into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of the only presidents that's really been into.
Yeah,
it
I
as
mean, and
much.
he would openly tell you, I
Right.
mean, he was not
It was
afraid.
a passion.
Yeah.
Going back to what they're attracted to, like nuclear power plants and things like that. Old Man Cronkite and I are big fans of Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
Me too.
They
Me
just
too.
went out and did a bunch of radiation testing. I mean, this is 500 acres in the middle of a desert. There's nothing remotely close to it. And the radiation fields out there are like microwave
Oh, wow.
levels. Just go out and dig a little hole. And that's
just do
what
that,
it turns
yeah.
How is that?
Yeah.
And so that's where there's been a lot of activity. So you wonder what the correlation is between that activity and all the radiation levels that are so high.
Right.
Right.
Now, I've not watched episode 2 of the new season yet. I do have it on DVR, but that is a fascinating show.
It really
love
is.
it.
I am.
We love it.
Anyone, I said it
Oh,
really
good,
is.
good.
I said it really is.
What?
And if anyone if we have any fans that are associated with Skywalker Ranch, we would love to come and do a show there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if you want to be on our show, all you have to do is contact us.
Well, yeah, that too, I guess.
But I'd rather go to Skinwalker
Yeah,
Ranch
me too.
than
I
to
want
the
to go
bunker.
there.
All right.
I want to
Is
go
that
there.
it?
Very fun.
Let me ask you two a question off topic. Doesn't have anything to do with this. The Curse of Oak Island. Do you like the Curse of Oak
Oh, we're
Island?
obsessed with the
I'm-
Curse of Oak
Okay.
Island.
Yes.
Thank
Checking
you
out.
guys.
We're
Thank you
obsessed.
guys. No, you're not checking out.
I'm not checking out.
You
guys,
listen to this.
You guys do your thing.
You
I'll be over
obsessed.
He
here.
gives me a hard time because I love that show, The
Oh,
Curse
we're
of Oak
obsessed.
Island.
It's a
Now-
terrible show.
That's
Now,
our date night.
This
night.
this is the only season where this is the only season where I have not said I'm not watching this next year because they ended with I have to watch this next year. When years before I'm like, why'd I waste all this time on this show? I'm so aggravated at this, and then I'd watch it again, and I would be like, well, I've got so much time invested already. I might as well just go ahead and watch it. But this year, I was completely satisfied with the way that it ended, and do you think that there's treasure if they could find the money pit? Do you still think there's a dump truck full of silver like they claim?
I don't know. I don't know. Interested to find out, but if I was in charge of that and spending all the money they're spending,
Yeah.
this show would have lasted one season.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We'd have come in there and we'd have walled everything off and dug a big hole and went through it all, and that'd been the end of it. But
Exactly.
we'd have found
Exactly.
it out. Yeah, but it's very interesting, just the stuff they find.
Well, the history part of it.
Yeah,
you learn so much.
When they found a Knights Templar cross,
Yes.
Right.
from back in
1300.
1300.
Medieval
That,
baby.
that's which that kind of throws history on its ear right there because
Yes, it does.
They're saying Columbus
Yeah.
discovered the new world when actually there was people coming over here a long time before.
Yeah, yeah. So I know Cronkite does not like the Curse of Oak Island.
I don't. No, I do not.
and you don't have any taste.
No, well, no, I wouldn't say that. I think I have great taste.
Roswell, 1947. Do you think it was real or it was weather balloon?
Definitely real.
Yeah,
100%.
It's real.
I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever.
I'm right there with you. I totally agree with you.
I was always interested in. I watched this show after Roswell, right after that happened. The technology that we came up with within like a 10-year period.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was laser beams,
Yes.
microwave ovens, aluminum foil, the computer chip.
Yeah.
There were
transistor.
where did that technology come from?
And we've talked about that on the show a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
And
So
you left out the
interesting.
one most important invention, Velcro.
Yeah.
Velcro, that's
Velcro.
true.
You had Velcro. You had Kevlar.
Yes.
Come after that, you
Yes.
had Wi-Fi. You know, or the not
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, but the
And where
fiber
does
optic
that-
cables.
Like lasers. How could you just come up with that instantly? I mean, that's something that the technology had to be so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To try
Well-
to figure out how to make a laser. I mean,
During our last roundtable, and you know, we feel kind of guilty because, you know, we'll start going one way, and we're always pulled, and we do not support the Nazi Party or the SS.
No.
They were so technology advanced. They had to get that from somewhere. I mean, you know, in World War II, they had fighter jets. We didn't, you know.
And missiles.
Hey,
And
well,
Yeah.
supposedly there was a group
know.
of scientists for the Nazi Party that was dealing with reverse engineering, but they had direct contact with aliens.
Right.
That's where Werner von Braun come from, who came over after World War II. America went over there and told these scientists, look, you even come over and work for us or you're going to go to prison or the chopping block. So they all come, and then Werner Braun, he's the one that helped with the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
The space program.
The
and
space
the
program.
whole space program. He had knowledge that wasn't around at that time.
And he even said in
Werner
one
von
of
Braun.
one of those
It's very
shows that
interesting.
he said we had help,
Yeah.
Yes.
but he didn't allude to where
To
the help came
what it
from.
was.
Right.
Well,
You
that's
know,
the thing.
well-
It's like we talked about that. You know, either that is for some reason the only area in the world that genius level scientists come from,
Yes.
or they had help.
Yes.
100%.
They had help,
I
you know,
agree.
because what, in 1935, there was the
agree.
crash in the dark forest.
36,
Or
Black
36.
Forest. Yeah.
So, you know, and recently
Richard
I have read.
Remington voice.
No, that was
That was in the 80s. That was Rendomshire. But
Rendomshire.
we're talking about the Black Forest
Black
crash.
Forest crash.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so that's when Hitler was
Yes.
kind of coming up in power, and they started having a lot of media blackouts. So you don't there's
Really
not
know
a lot
what was
about
what,
that.
what was found.
then
out.
that's also you did the show on the Real Society. That's
Yeah.
when all that stuff kind of. I mean, they were kind of a thing before that, but
Right.
you know, I think that Hitler listened to their speaking or their
Right.
knowledge, because they were basically trying to make society where they didn't have to want for nothing or work for nothing. You know, everybody be taken
Right.
care of. You know, I mean, he took it and flipped it up on its ear and used it as a military purpose.
Right.
Just because that would give him an advantage. And you know, you look at all the weapons, even their tanks and things like it. When they first
Yeah.
started World War II, you know, they had these little small 2-3 man tanks, whatever, had machine guns on them. Well, by 1943,
They had
they've
flying
got
discs.
they have got like the best tank on the battlefield
Yeah.
until the Russians kind of got in there and even playing field.
Right.
Panzers.
Yeah.
That they had a flying disc
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
yeah,
they
the-
were,
the
working
Nazi
on
bail.
top secret.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
You know.
Well, supposedly they had what they call the honeyboo,
Right.
Which is, I think is hummingbird, if
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. An actual flying saucer, and there was supposedly there's a secret report that towards the end of the war, there was like 15 of these things come out and shot down 150 bombers.
Right.
You know,
Right.
But it was all kept secret.
And there was are you familiar? I think it's the Horton 329. That was a Nazi
yeah.
plane.
The one that looks flying wing. I think it's
Yes.
229.
Yeah.
They found
Just-
a piece of one.
Yeah.
It wasn't complete,
Right.
but when they brought it back here just recently, they did a full-scale mock-up and put it on one of their radar stands. And it, I don't know, they said it threw back a radar signature about like a hummingbird.
Right.
So far ahead of everybody.
Right.
If they could have perfected that before the end of the war, that would have been bad.
I have saw drawings and sketches of that, and that was, for that to take place in the 40s.
Yeah.
And the U.S. didn't catch up until
Right.
the late 80s.
Right.
Well, now you can go a little farther. Jack Northrop from our group,
Right.
our aviation company. That was what he was trying to get, was a flying wing, and the government just kept shooting him down,
Right.
him down. Well, they finally, after the war, they come out with a bomber, which was a flying wing, and then they upgraded to jet engines. Well, nothing came of it. They destroyed all of them or whatever. And then, 40 years later, you get the B-2, which is a flying wing.
Right.
And they say that it has the exact same dimensions as the first flying wing bomber that they had back in the 50s.
And that is, it's just the technology they have was so amazing. And you mentioned von Braun a few moments ago. I've recently, and I can't think of the name of the book. I wish I'd made a notation. It was written by von Braun, and in the book, he mentions a guy named Elon that is the guy responsible for putting people on Mars.
Yep.
And that,
Really?
that has recently came to light. And the book's
Really?
60 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been dead.
And
been
I
dead for a
can't
long
think of the
time.
name of the book or when it was wrote, but
But that
it's like
makes
60 years
Wow.
old. But he mentions a man named Elon that puts people on Mars.
Uh-huh.
So if they did not have inside info from somewhere, you can't guess that.
No.
Well, and
know.
I'm going to go back out on a limb here.
How many
and,
people's
and,
name Elon?
And
Exactly.
I'm going to throw Ingersoll Lockwood back into this. It's all coming together in all one group.
Well, okay, but in all fairness, we've never made a connection with the Nazis or Ingersoll Lockwood.
No, yeah, in fairness, we have not. However, the only connection that we have that we can even kind of circumstantially say that it's possible is Elon.
Right. Well, but and you're talking about Tesla.
I'm talking about time travel.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about Elon being a clone of Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Isn't it interesting that we're at a time that's only happened in the last 10 years? Think about this. All of a sudden, we have private entities that have enough money and have the technology to get a flying ship that's going to go to Mars.
Yeah.
If you'd have told us this even 5 years ago, everybody been like, "You're crazy. There's no way."
We kept waiting on the government because we were so used to NASA and
Right.
the Russian government.
Yes.
That was all you had to get stuff into space.
But now we
Right.
got
Now,
Jeff Bezos got one.
Yeah.
Jeff
Elon-
Bezos. And,
Bezos, thank you,
and,
and Elon Musk, and they're fighting.
and
Them
you
two
got,
are. They're
a
competing.
a group out of, I think they're out of New Zealand, Rocket Labs. They're kind of in the same, they're starting to launch small satellites. And when their rockets come down, they catch them with a helicopter. They're not as big as what Elon Musk is
I
launching.
think it's crazy how technology has blown up here in the last 5
Oh,
10 years.
it's. And
Ridiculous.
when I was putting the format together for the show, I was even going to mention some technology, but I didn't do that this episode. But they always say that our technology is 20 years behind what the military technology is.
Right.
Now think about all the technology today, and this was available to the military 20 years ago.
Yep.
To envision and imagine what it's going to be like 20 years from now is mind blowing. Before we started recording the show, I was uploading some music, and one of the things I uploaded was a $6 Million Man intro. That show was in the 70s. Yeah. That's very, very possible today
And
with
probably the next-
with the modern medicine of today.
20
yeah,
years,
that's a
I can see
no-brainer
that.
today. Look at all the body parts that they've been able to reproduce, like your heart and your lungs and all that stuff.
It's been a couple of years ago. I was reading an article, and it said, I can't remember what periodical it was from, but it was said that if people were alive right now, and they had a chance to live to be 200 plus years old, due to the technology, modern medicine, and I firmly believe that.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I could live to be 200?
Yes.
Huh, done.
So
I wouldn't want to be 200.
Why?
I don't know. Yeah.
This
It would-
world right now is so crazy.
Well, yeah, but
get 100
you know,
Imagine
years,
in
you'd
200
break you
years.
up into pins to make it another 100 years.
I know, right?
What,
Metal depends.
what story do you want to go with there, Cronkite?
All right, so I'm going to talk about the simulation stuff. So we talked about the simulation theory a while back. It seems a little far-fetched, but an MIT professor says kind of suggests that we're more likely than not living in it, or we're more likely than not living in a computer simulation. So an MIT professor has said that he believes it's more likely than not that we are living in some kind of simulated universe, given that we ourselves are not far away from being capable of creating hyper-realistic simulations ourselves. In an interview with Vox, computer scientist Rizwan Virk argued that the world might make more sense if we were living in a world of information rather than the physical world. There's a lot of mysteries in physics that are better explained by simulation hypothesis, and I think there's a very good chance we are in fact living in a simulation, though we can't say that. Although we can't say that with 100% confidence, but there's plenty of evidence that points in that direction. The idea that we're living in a computer simulation is not new and has been the subject of science fiction and philosophical. Daggone it. How do you say
Philosophical.
philosophical? Thank you.
I like philosophical better.
Yeah.
I especially like Philosophical House.
Not to
get some waffles.
not
and
to
stuff.
interrupt you, but I'm scatterbrained sometimes. But I was listening to the best of Ingersoll Lockwood.
Yes.
And you said according to Snopes.com.
Yes.
And I laughed, and I'm like, I pronounce it as Snoops. I just still find that funny. I just wanted you to know that.
Well, I mean, and I looked at that word and I said that's philosophical, and I still pronounced it philosophical. So it's okay. Philosophical theories for years. In 2003, Nick Barnstrom's paper, Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?, captured the imagination of scientists and the public alike. In a brief argument, it goes like this. If humans survive and continue to develop technology, we'll reach a stage where our civilization has enormous computing power. With this power, it is likely that we will be capable of running massive number of simulations of our ancestors using just a tiny fraction of the computing power available to us. Given that this is the case, Barnstrom suggests that there are three possibilities for how the future will go, and one of them has to be true. One, the fraction of human-level civilizations that reach a stage where they can be able to run these simulations is very close to zero. This would mean that the world is real, but we'll likely get wiped out before we reach a point where we have this sort of computational power. That's kind of a downer, isn't it?
A little bit. A little bit.
Two, the fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running ancestor simulations is very close to zero. This, he suggests, would require society to have changed significantly by the time we are able to run simulations where no individuals have the resources to run simulations, or individuals are somehow banned from running the simulations because of ethical concerns for the simulated people themselves. Or three, the fraction of all people with our kind of experience that are living in a simulation is very close to one. If the other two aren't true, this means that the majority of people with our kinds of experience are actually simulated and advanced civilizations in the future, and only one real world where all the simulation is taking place. Therefore, it is far more likely that we are in one of the simulations than the real world, and by what would be a material hypothesis, he told Vox. What do you think about that?
I don't think we're in a simulation. What about you guys?
I think the old boy smoked too much weed while watching The Matrix.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
But, I mean, if you think about it, though.
You kind of believe that, though, don't you?
No, I mean, I'm just trying to keep an open mind.
Right.
But,
Well,
I mean, would we know if we were living in a simulation? Would we think it was just
There should be
BS?
glitches.
Sorry?
There should be a glitch every once in a while, shouldn't there?
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah.
be able
It
to
was like
tell.
what, the
think.
red pill or the green pill or the blue pill?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to keep an open mind. I'm just trying to
I
think,
don't know.
if it were true, how would we know it was true?
okay. If I was in the movie The Truman Show, I would know I was in the movie The Truman Show.
He didn't know he was in the movie Truman Show.
Yeah, but he wasn't that bright.
Huh?
His
Okay.
name was true.
His name was Truman. I don't know, man. I'm
mean,
just trying to keep an open mind. I don't know if it's
Stuff like that is an interesting read.
Yeah.
But I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
I don't see how it can work. I
I
don't
don't-
understand how it
either.
could be.
I don't
Who's in
understand
control
either.
of it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, who's up there running the program?
the one world government? They've got us. They've got us locked in, 100% ready to go. I don't know.
Bilderberg.
Yeah,
It's a Bilderberg society.
Bill Gates has us all
Yes.
tied up to the.
Getting
Well, you know,
divorced.
He's got us-
if you read a bunch of stuff on the internet too, Bill Gates and his wife's been dead for several years now.
Yeah, that's because
and-
they're
Well, they're getting
simulation.
divorced.
He looks rough.
They
Yeah.
got that's because they're in control of the simulation, and we're all just powering his Microsoft.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm just trying to keep an
It's
open mind.
interesting. I keep an open mind too.
Well, I mean, and
an
I
interesting
try to
read.
keep an open mind, but I don't believe we're in a
It's strange.
simulation.
It's definitely a strange theory, and it's one that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. You know,
Yeah. Well, during the listener email part of the show, I read an email from a friend of the show, Luke Fugit. When we take our next break, I'll show you the video that he sent me. But he has built a Jacob's ladder based on the Madman Markham. That was a former Art Bell guest. And he actually did a few tests, and he sent me a video. And he said, I did a few tests, and I couldn't find some of the nails and screws that I threw through it. After reviewing the footage, I noticed this scene where a nail I threw seems to appear on top of the box. I slowed it down so you can see it. And I showed this to Cronkite before the show. And are you familiar with Madman Markham on the Art Bell show?
A little bit. He's the guy that made the time machine.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, and he had a huge one and jumped into it and
Yeah.
disappeared for 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, he started out on a small scale like Luke has. And in this video I'll show you, Luke throws a nail in it, and once it leaves its hand, you can't see it until and it just like it appears out of nowhere at the bottom of the table. And Luke is going to be on the show probably sometime in June. We're going to have him back on.
excellent.
And we're going to get him to build a time machine for us, maybe a Tesla cane,
Okay,
and see what else we can come up with.
tell him to build a time machine.
I will. And I have before. I've told him this for years. Luke is the smartest guy that I've ever met.
I want to go back in time.
Why?
I don't know. I just think we can cool.
Really?
Yeah,
Would you? I don't have any comment.
I think
on
it'd be
that.
kind of cool to go back in time.
What period would you go to?
Um,
And I think we've actually talked about this on the show before, but that's really good. If you could time travel, what period would you go to?
I'd probably go back to the 40s. I'd want to see the technology advance like we've been talking about.
So you would want to go back to the okay, all right. Nope, you can't change your answer. What about you? Where would you like to go to if you could time travel?
Wait. Are we only allowed to time
You
travel back?
cannot change your answer.
You need to calm down with
You
your hands.
do this all the
You
time.
need to calm down with your hands over there.
You
Are we going-
interrupted the guest.
But I'm clarifying the question. Are we only allowed to travel back in time, or can he travel forward in time?
You've already answered.
I'm clarifying the question.
Well, let me talk to him. I'm going to turn your mic off.
Do you want to go forward in time or backward in time?
Now say something, Cronkite. I think you can eat dicks. And guess what? Your mic is muted. So now it's unmuted. Would you go? What period would you go to?
Probably like Cronkite, I'd go back to the 40s, or maybe even back mid 30s,
Right.
Just to get to see some of the history. Of course, it'd be hard to keep your mouth shut,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
Right.
to try to change things. But still,
What
it'd be
about you?
interesting.
Pre-Civil War.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I would love to.
I think I would go back and try to meet Ingersoll Lockwood. Because if he was a time traveler, then I would be able to travel from other periods. You know, if I met him and befriended him and told him, that I came from the year 2021 and this and that. So
Well, yeah, but you already have a time machine, so why would you need to go meet him?
I didn't say time machine. I said one period. What's one place you would travel
I
to?
know that, but
See,
you said you're going to go
You
back and meet
always do
Ingersoll
this.
Lockwood. So
You
can go
always
time
do
travel
this.
some more.
Why do you
So
always
that you
do
go
this?
time travel more. You already have a time machine. Why would
Why?
you want to go back to talk to a man
Why
that
do
you need to time travel
Why
more
do
with?
you always do this?
Because I like poking holes in your BS.
All right, you just sit there and believe your simulation theory. The only
don't believe
thing
it.
you've ever simulated has come out of your ass.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
We're going to take a short
But-
break, have Elliot's articles, Ned said, and when we come back, we'll have segment 2. And in segment 2, we're going to be talking about Cronkite's going to be talking about some stuff, and
We're
I'm going to be talking about
aliens
some
and stuff.
possible fake celebrity deaths. And in one of those, we mentioned earlier on the show, and you'll have to stick around to find out which one it is. You're
Probably
listening to
Marilyn
Here to Chew
Monroe.
Bubble. Shh. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. We'll be back in just a moment.
Researching the inner workings of the net to bring you stories of the strange and unusual. It's Elliot's Articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum. Take it away, Elliot.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Elliot with Elliot's Articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum. I am part of that spooky family, but they are busy at the moment preparing for our new podcast coming July 1st on all your favorite podcast networks. That's the Spooky Family Podcast. You can visit our website at spookyfamilypodcast.com. Also, you can email us. You can email me, Elliot at spookyfamilypodcast.com, or Gertie at spookyfamilypodcast.com, or Beagle. I don't know why you would want to email Beagle, but you can, at Beagle at spookyfamilypodcast.com. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can. Please send in your ghost stories. We would love to have your ghost stories. We want to make our podcast as interactive with the fans as possible. We would love to read your ghost stories, so please send those in. Now, I have a great news article today for Here to Chew Bubblegum. It is called Project Serpo, the exchange program between humans and aliens. And I found this on newsintact.com. It's a November 30th, 2020 article, so you can look that up if you want to. In 2005, an anonymous source sent a series of emails to a UFO discussion group led by former U.S. government employee Victor Martinez. These emails detailed the existence of an exchange program between the U.S. government and the Ebens, alien beings from Serpo, a planet from the Zeta Reticuli star system. The program was thus called Project Serpo. I mean, no points for originality there. The source identified himself as a retired employee of the government, claiming he had participating in a special program. The program's origins lay within two UFO crashes in New Mexico in 1947. The famous Roswell one, and another one in Corona. He claimed one extraterrestrial survived the crash and was transferred to the Los Alamos National Laboratory. The other 6 deceased extraterrestrials were placed in a freezing facility in the same laboratory. Establishing communications with the scientists and military personnel, the survivor provided them with the location of its home planet and continued to cooperate until its death in 1952. The aliens provided information regarding the items found inside the crashed UFOs. One of those items was a communication device that it was allowed to use, contacting its home planet. A meeting was set for April 1964 when an alien craft landed near Alamogordo, New Mexico. Upon retrieving the bodies of their dead comrades, the extraterrestrials engaged in an information exchange that was carried out in English, thanks to the aliens' translation device. One thing led to another, and in 1965, the aliens accepted to take a group of humans back to their planet as part of an exchange program. 12 military personnel were carefully selected for a 10-year stay on Serpo. The 10 men and 2 women were specialists in various fields, and their task was to gather as much information as possible regarding all aspects of life, society, and technology on the alien planet. They were 3 years late and 4 people short when they finally returned in 1978. 2 men had died on the alien planet. 1 man and 1 woman had decided to stay. The journey to Serpo, located 37 light-years from Earth, took only 9 months aboard the alien craft. They had learned that Serpo was a planet similar to our own, albeit smaller. It orbited around a binary star and had an atmosphere similar in composition to the one on Earth. However, the 2 suns meant there were higher levels of radiation, and the 12 humans had to resort to protection at all times. 2 of them died from complications. The heat was extreme, and it took the remaining humans several years to adjust. Another problem was the food. The crew had taken enough food to last them for 2.5 years, but eventually had to resort to eating native Eben food. Anyone who's traveled abroad knows about the serious gastrointestinal implications posed by eating local food, but the human crew eventually adjusted. Another problem was the length of the day on Serpo, which was 43 Earth hours long. Also, it never got fully dark as their night skies were dimly lit by the smaller sun. The crew had complete freedom to explore the alien planet, and they were not hindered in any way. The geology of the alien world was different. There were few mountains and no oceans. Several types of plant life existed, but mostly near the polar area, where it was cooler. There were also types of animals, and some of the larger ones were used by the Ebens for work and other tasks, but never as food sources. They produced their food through industrial processes, of which they had many. The inhabitants of Serpo lived in a small community led by a large city. They lacked a central government, but seemed to be doing fine without it. The Ebens had leadership and an army, but the Earth team noticed that they never used weapons of any type, and violence was virtually unheard of. They had no concept of money or commerce. Every Eben was issued items in accordance with their needs. The planet's population was about 650,000 individuals. The human crew noted that Ebens were disciplined in all aspects of their lives, working on schedules based on the movements of their suns. There were no other civilizations on Serpo except for the Ebens. Their method of reproduction was similar to our own, but it had a much lower success rate. Therefore, their children were highly isolated. In fact, the only problem the human crew had was when they intended to take a photograph of the Ebens' children. They were escorted away by the army and asked to never attempt that again. Upon returning to Earth, the remaining 8 members of the expedition were quarantined for a year. During this period, they were debriefed, and the complete account amassed about 3,000 pages. All members of the expedition have since died from various complications due to radiation exposure. The fate of the 2 people who chose to remain on Serpo is unknown. The Ebens have not contacted Earth since 1985. So I thought that was a pretty good little story. You know, maybe we have had contact. Maybe we do have a space force. There was a hacker back in the day that found a list of supposed Space Force members. So is this part of it? Who knows? Once again, you are listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose and Cronkite. Thanks for listening, dear listeners. Please stay vigilant. Elliot, out.
Greetings.
We come in peace.
The City of Coal Run Village Mayor Andrew Scott and City Commissioners Beverly Joe Osborne, Big Joe Atkins, Trey Eskins, and Mike Steele encourage you to shop local.
With over 200 businesses, the City of Coal Run Village offers games, restaurants, gas, auto parts, cars, and much more.
You'll find all of this and more in the City of Coal Run Village. Shop local and shop often.
You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail for Here to Chew Bubblegum. 606-373-3396. You can also send an email to goose@heretochewbubblegum.com or cronkite@heretochewbubblegum.com. It's now time for Ned Said on Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Space smells like seared steak, according to astronauts.
You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum, recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains.
Looks good in this orbit. Roger. BCS arm switch is on. Okay, Victor. Landing rocket arm switch is on. Here comes the throttle. Circuit breakers in. We have separation. Inboard and outboard are on. We're coming forward with the side stick. All looks good. Roger. I've got a blowout. Vapor 3. Pitch your pitch to 0. Pitch is out. I can't hold altitude. Correction. Alpha is off. Trip selected emergency. Flight com. I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's breaking.
Austin, astronaut, a man barely alive.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Steve Austin will be that man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
And welcome back to Here to Chew Bubblegum. I am Goose. As always, with me is Cronkite.
Hello.
And we also have Old Man Cronkite and Pamela Anderson in the studio with us as well.
Hello.
We're going to have to get you to make some promos for us.
I will certainly do that.
She said hello.
So understand you had a question before we get started with segment 2.
Well, actually, after that intro, I've got 2 questions.
Okay.
When you were younger, did you get out and play and you go running and you start going?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Well, look over here.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
Bart don't get it.
gotta
Or
watch the show.
Cronkite don't get it. I'm sorry.
Cronkite don't get it.
Cronkite.
So,
Oh my God!
All right.
Quit calling me by my name.
No, all right. The government is supposed to release this report here in the next, I don't know what, next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
whatever.
next like 2
Okay,
weeks.
you know, coming out with all the supposedly releasing everything they have. Now, my question is, if they release everything they have, and they come out with this, oh gosh, what I think I call it 0 point energy,
Right.
where you're just getting the energy out of the air that you can use or whatever. What will that do to the world? And do you think they'll actually release that?
Well, honestly, if it comes to that point, I would hope that they release it. I don't think they will because, you know, like you said, 0 point energy, that would take away our need for fossil fuels, you know, would be gone. You would have no gas crisis. You would you would have no, you know, power
Electrical.
companies that try to gouge their customers.
Right.
You would have none of that,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm just thinking, you know,
I hope that they don't release a lot of stuff and it's redacted or blacked out. I hope
sure
they
it will
just
be.
yeah, and I'm sure some of it will be too.
Yeah.
I say in this world we're living in right now, nothing would surprise me.
Well,
No, not at all.
Yeah. But,
It's like a
you know,
Twilight movie every morning when I get up and turn the news on.
you know, but I'm sitting there thinking, you know, if they did release something like that, how pissed off I would be.
yeah,
That they've had this technology all this time and all this money that it's cost everybody.
well,
You know, and wars are being fought over oil. You know,
well, you can go back and I can't think of the name of the show, but the doctor, the doctor from Skinwalker Ranch,
Yeah.
he did a show several years ago where they took Nikola Tesla's electrical tower, and they built 2 of them, and they were by this lake, and they powered a remote control motorboat off of this just by getting the electricity in the air. Yeah. So the theory that he came up with is that Nikola Tesla did create free power. You know, and if you had a place and had these all over your house, you could get and maintain that. You could route and set up and get free power from it.
yeah, I'd be happy with that.
You know, and there's a lot of people that claim that's why that they, you know, some people say that they killed Nikola Tesla.
You know, at that point, if 0 point energy was released and became a thing, you would have no more people being super greedy and they would have no leverage over the public
all right.
They'd probably something else.
That
they'd have no
that
leverage.
would make the world a better place.
It would, but they would have no leverage over the people to stay in power, is what I'm saying.
You know, there's, and I was going to mention this in segment 3, but I think I'll go ahead and mention it now. You know, we recently got a TikTok, and there is a lot of good people on there that I've watched, and I found some very informative stuff that we will talk about on the future episodes of the show. There's some very dumb people on there that are so full of hate.
Yeah,
and some of the comments that they make to people, you know, there's this one girl that I follow that the show follows in a wheelchair, and she is a sweet young girl, and some of the comments that people post on hers, I mean, you know, and this is the same generation that eats Tide Pods and get their feelings hurt, but on social media they're vicious. That just that just blows my mind. That makes no sense to me.
They can't be held accountable.
You know,
I
mean,
they can put anything they want to on.
Well, you know, but I was raised right, you know, hopefully. You know, my grandfather, my grandmother who passed away years ago, my mom, you know, I always have respect for people. You know, I always try to open a door for people and, you know, be nice and friendly if I can. And no matter what situation I'm in, and I've been in some pretty bad situations where, you know, I should not have been nice or friendly, but by being nice and friendly and tactful, that has, you know, saved me a couple of times. But just this generation, I mean, for, I mean, calling the girl in a wheelchair, that she's lazy and she's doing that for attention. And I mean, when this is like a birth defect that she's had, these people are cruel,
Very cruel. Well,
My question is, what's next?
I
mean,
hate to
the
imagine
internet,
what's next.
I know. The internet, look what all it did to our whole society.
Right.
And now all of these apps, these TikTok, Facebook,
Right.
Twitter, all this stuff. What's next? That's what's scary.
I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb. A lot of these kids should have got their ass busted when they was little, and I think they would be better adults today.
Well, and I think that's why you see a lot of that is the previous generation where we're saying that you shouldn't discipline your children in the physical sense, and that's why you have kids that are eating Tide Pods,
right?
And killing themselves doing challenges and making fun of people.
We got our ass whipped.
Old man Cronkite busted Cronkite's ass about every other day, and look what a fine, upstanding citizen he turned out.
Whether I needed it or not.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say this later on the show too, but I will say it now. You did a fine job, and Cronkite is one of my best friends, and thank you very much for the job that you did.
For complimenting him. He's he ain't a kid no more. He's creeping up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost there. I will be honest with you.
Do not touch your microphone.
I will be honest with you. You can't even hear that. Relax over there.
Still.
This is why I like these new
He's got a
this
fetish.
new thing better.
Okay. Let me give you a situation. Somebody's interviewing us. We're somewhere else besides Bunker Studios, and you reach up and grab a hold of the microphone. Don't do that. Oh, my God. There he goes with that little...
Now he's doing the dog licking. Stop.
Keep it up. I can go all day.
I can go all day.
You want me to read you this article?
Yeah. I'm going to get off my soapbox there, but I just, I don't know how we got on social media, but
social media is I won't even say that the internet is bad. The internet has good purposes. It's social media is what has really kind of brought our civilization to a halt, a screeching halt.
All right. Let me, and this is flip-flopping away from social media.
De-evolution is what's happening to these kids.
This is flip-flopping away from social media. And that just briefly, I want to ask you and then them this. In the next 5 years, do you think movie theaters like they are now will be around, or they'll be a thing of the past?
Thing of the past.
I think so, too.
I'm surprised they're not already.
You know, I mean, the whole COVID-19 thing where they've all been shut down, it's just...
Well, and that's what we were kind of talking. I said, we were talking that, the movie theaters are going to be shut down and all this.
Yeah.
You maybe go back into a novelty like a drive-in movie from years ago, where you can actually go out with families, sit in the car and watch a movie.
Right.
Kids can go down there and play in the playground or whatever while you're watching.
I would love to see drive-ins make a comeback.
Everyone streams everything these days, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also that's probably where everything's going to go to. They're straight to streaming service releases.
Okay,
it makes these young kids socially ignorant.
Yes,
right.
Yes, it does.
And you're also going to look at cable TV channel or stations or channels, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to go away because everybody's streaming everything.
Yeah, everybody's streaming, and you've got Roku, and you've just got so much choices.
And if I can be a little negative here, it's their own fault. These cable news agencies with their with the media has turned a lot of people away from watching television because of you never know if you're getting the truth or not.
Right.
And I would go on a limb to say that a solid 60% of it is never the truth.
No, I agree.
No, it's not like it was back in the day when the real Cronkite was on.
Yeah.
When the man spoke.
What are you talking about? I am the real Cronkite.
You pay attention and listen.
When the man spoke, you pretty much know it was the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't.
And I am the real Pamela Anderson. Just saying.
So, and you can't get that now.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it all started with the 24-hour news agencies. They have to talk about something all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
it's
90%
of it's
Ted Turner started CNN. CNN was a damn good news network.
Yes, it was.
Up and through the Gulf War, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really, really good at what they did. And then it just kind of all went to hell after that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think after the OJ trial is when CNN started going down because
Yeah, I agree.
they actually started the CNN company. What was it? It wasn't True TV. It was Court TV.
Yeah.
They started that, and then it started. It's like it took a turn.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're talking that was like what 95, 96, something like
Somewhere
that.
around there.
So
It was a long time ago.
yeah, go ahead and tell us about your story about Dr. Stephen Greer. I know he is a idol of yours.
Well, it's not a story about Stephen Greer.
Okay.
It's a I saw this on his Instagram, and he has a link to it. But it's a New York Times article, and it's kind of interesting. But it says, even if you think discussing aliens is ridiculous, just hear me out. That's the title.
Okay.
Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. The most curious subplot in the news right now is the admission and the most senior levels of the United States government that the military services have collected visuals, data, and testimonials recording fly objects they cannot explain. That they are investigating these phenomena seriously, and that they will, in the coming months, report at least some of their findings to the public. It feels, at times, like the beginning of the film where everyone is going about their lives, even as the earth-shaking events unfurl on a silenced television in the background. Now, you know what? See, we did talk about this, so we're not the only ones who has noticed this, that the news outlets have, and again, maybe that's possibly part of their plan. You know, they feel so much BS in the airwaves that people just don't pay attention to it. But we've talked about this last year when they let those videos out. Nobody cared.
Right.
Nobody cared.
You're right. You're right.
Well, and you got to look. All they were talking about was COVID. Me personally, COVID's real. It's nowhere near as bad as what they say it is.
Amen.
They have gone and
Blew it
made
out.
it political for whatever gains they're after. So news like that, 20 years ago would have been, oh my God, what they just said aliens are real.
Right.
They don't know what this is, and it barely got a blip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that wasn't the story at the
Right.
time.
At the time.
Right. So a number of the stories in the New York Times over the past few years have confirmed the existence of a military program on advanced aerospace threat identification and revealed videos in which trained pilots marvel over unidentified craft apparently defying the limits of known technology. On April 30th, the New Yorker published a Revelty. Oh my gosh, I cannot read today. Published an article by Gideon Lewis Krause tracking the rise of congressional, military, and media interest in UFO. Excuse me. In UFOs, Harry Reid, the former Senate Majority Leader from Nevada, emerges as the key actor in the middle of his. You were a little late to the party.
Well,
on that one. I read 4 sentences past that. He pushed to fund these investigations, and since retiring, he's been relentless in voicing his conviction that the military has information on UFOs that the public deserves to know. He told Lewis Krause that he believed there was a crash debris held by Lockheed Martin, but when he asked the Pentagon to see it, he was refused access. I tried to get, as I recall, a classified approval by the Pentagon to have me go look at the stuff, he said. They would not approve that. Language inserted in the 2021 Intelligence Authorization Act gave the government 180 days to gather and analyze the data it has collected and to release a report on the findings. On Fox News, John Ratcliffe, the former director of the National Intelligence, was given the opportunity to play down the report, which he began under his tenure, and he declined. When we talk about the sightings, he said, we are talking about the objects that have been seen by the Navy or Air Force pilots and have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain, movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. Nor are these just eyewitness accounts made by fallible human observers. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking these things up, he said. Perhaps Ratcliffe, a former member of Congress whose sole stint in the intelligence came at the tail of the end of Trump administration, is simply hyping up his work. But that doesn't explain why a former CIA director, John Brennan, said in an interview with the economist Tyler Cowen that some of the phenomena we're going to be seeing continues to be unexplained and might, in fact, be some type of phenomenon that is the result of something that we don't know yet, and understand. And then that could involve some type of activity that some might say constitutes a different form of life.
Are you done reading?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a lot more, but I'm just taking a break to see
Right.
what you all think about it. But go ahead. Well, I'm done reading. What do you got?
Oh, no, nothing. I was going to say, you don't really pay attention to me a whole lot, do you?
No.
Because I think it was like 2 radio shows ago. I read that exact same article.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
This just came out last week.
No, it did not.
Yes, it did.
No, it did not.
It just came out last week.
No. I actually still have my research on that.
I'd like to see that.
Well, I will show it to you.
I
don't have it in front of me, but I will show it to you.
One lesson of the pandemic that is in humanity's desire for normalcy is an underrated force, and there is no single mistake as common to political analysis as the constant belief that this or the event will finally change everything. So if many can deny or downplay a disease that's killed millions, dismissing some unusual debris would be trivial. You know what? I'm done reading. I'm done reading. This was not the same article. Your article was not 9 pages long.
No, because I shortened it down and took notes.
No, you don't.
You just go on Wikipedia and print your stuff off. I actually do research.
I certainly do not. This was directly from that link.
Wikipedia.
So
Yeah.
is it really 9 pages? You're the one that's been wasting all the ink in Bunker
Steven.
Studios.
Yeah,
Steven, yeah.
yeah. It's 5 pages. First of all, this was printed out at old Man Cronkite's house. So
Oh, he's wasting money.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
I'm
bring
just-
us into this.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know.
That was,
'cause I don't
because-
remember hearing this.
Yeah, because we talked about the senator, Harry Reid, being from Nevada, and he couldn't get access to look at the debris.
Yeah. Okay. So one part.
There's more than one part.
What else was there?
It doesn't matter. It is
No,
a
it was.
fascinating story.
Is it?
So, yes,
Is
it
it?
is. Yes, it is.
Was it fascinating?
Yes, it is.
You know what, Goose? I've had enough of you.
Why? Was there anything else you would add?
There's a lot in there, but I don't want to be called out because
And he even talked about Lockheed Martin in it, and so. But great job, my friend. Thank you very much.
Oh no, he's got sound effects.
Let's hear it for Cronkite.
you do know I ran this by you before I even decided to read it, and you were like, "Yeah, that sounds great. My name's Doodle."
You think I was paying attention to you either?
I don't pay attention to you. I'm sorry,
No,
folks,
I mean,
but it's an
all right.
important article.
Yes, it is. Okay, so
It's basically essentially talking about the same stuff we were talking about, where the news has flooded us with a bunch of stuff,
Yes.
and nobody's paying attention to what's actually happening.
right now, how does it make you feel though that you've got Harry Reid that was in there for a long time? He's a senator from Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
He could not get access to that stuff that Lockheed Martin had. That was
Right.
like, because I actually think I had UFO fragments was the title of my article when I read it. So, mine was just 2 pages,
Mine's 5,
but
because mine's better.
but
I mean, mine was 5. It's like a Stephen.
well, I
email.
mean, all right, honestly, Stephen email, blast from the past. But what's your guys' thoughts of somebody that's in a political party? He's a politician. He's of higher stature, and he can't get access to it.
He's a part-time employee.
Exactly.
And they feel he does not need to know. But
Well, you're looking at Kentucky. We have Fort Knox
Yes.
in this
and
state.
Yeah.
They can't even
And
verify
the
if the gold's
president of the
still there.
United States can't even get in to see Fort Knox.
Do you think there is a lot of gold in Fort Knox?
I think there's no gold in Fort Knox.
Probably not. They may be a little.
If you
Just
ask
say
the
they have
people
it.
around that
I think
area,
there's some,
they'll
but
tell
I
you.
don't
Not-
think there's
not
as
like it
much as
was.
what like it
No.
was.
No,
No.
that's well, I think what was it? Nixon took us off the gold standard
Yeah.
because we were backing our debts in gold, and
Yeah.
all these other countries were calling this stuff in, and our gold was going out
gold
the door.
going
It's
out,
crazy.
That was from Roosevelt.
And so that's
Created
me personally. There may be some there just to say they have gold at Fort Knox, but
Yeah, I don't.
But I mean,
think
we're
there's a lot
talking
there.
local senators and governors and state representatives. Nobody can get access to that.
when was it?
Huddleston has been trying to get in there for probably 40 years.
I think what, it's-
72, I think, was when.
Yeah,
got in.
they when was, I don't know. I think it was maybe in the 80s or something. they took a bunch of them down to show the gold. Well, they took them down into the vaults.
Yes.
And they showed them one vault.
Right.
But there was
Yes.
like 13 or 14 others lying down the sides, and they wouldn't let them in. Wouldn't let them see them. But there was one vault.
They're probably empty.
And that's the last time.
That was the last time
anybody's been in there. So if you ask if Harry Reid can't get in to see alien stuff, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No. Like I said, he's a part-time employee, just like a president.
So I may sound dumb here. What is gold actually used for? I mean, is it
what?
I mean, I know it's like a precious metal, but like, what do they do with it?
Well, you can buy stuff with it.
You can buy stuff with
I mean,
it.
is that its only?
Well, no. I mean, there's
what I'm trying.
Electronics use gold.
Use it on electronics.
What I'm trying to ask is why our economy would have been based upon the gold standard. Why? What is it actually used for? Just the monetary.
If you watch the Ancient Aliens.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to need old man Cronkite to stop with the attitude.
No, I'm just saying.
The head move.
You leave old man Cronkite alone,
the head
buddy.
move, and you pipe down over there. This is a
leave
family
old man
conversation.
You'll be treat you like I did when you was little. Pull a bell off on you here in a minute.
I want to see it.
No, if you watch the Ancient Aliens, that was one of the theories that they work off of, that the aliens came here to mine the gold.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you got, humans probably primitive at the time, didn't know it. They might have thought they were gods or whatever. And, they saw that gold was important to them, and it's just stuck.
Right.
It's important to us now.
But that's what I was trying to figure out.
It's monetary value, but then they have electronics. There's a lot of intricate pieces that require gold.
Yeah.
Like all your computer
jewelry.
chips, your monitors on computers, all it has a small percentage of gold, and some of the wiring and chips
And
and all
there's
that.
desire for jewelry.
My old 80 stereo I have, all the connections are gold.
Probably don't tell that on the radio.
Why? There's not enough gold on there for somebody to come over and try to rob me.
Oh,
it's just a good conductor of electricity.
Yes.
okay.
Makes you sound clear.
Well, that was
You know
my
that
question.
soccer mom van you got? There's probably little traces of gold in it.
Probably. No, that's
Soccer.
It's a delivery van. Okay, you just relax.
All right, soccer mom.
Soccer round
No, see, that's the thing is I never really, I understand gold is important, but I never really understood why it was so important. No one's ever explained that.
Well,
to me.
that's to me, that's what I think it is. They came here to mine the gold.
Yeah.
We were already here. We saw it was important to them. Their technology, they probably thought they were gods.
Right.
Just like when the Europeans came across and the Native Americans saw them here, they were in these huge ships. That was why, was it Captain Cook, I think, got killed over in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Captain
They killed
Crunch.
him because they wanted the nails out of his ship.
Really?
Yeah. This was technology they didn't have.
Yeah.
But they saw that gold was important to them, and so naturally gold is going to be important to them. They want to dig it out,
I had not heard about the story about
make
Captain
jewelry
Crunch.
out of it or whatever. Oh, what's the one lake down in South America that they found all kinds of gold in the bottom of it, where they go out there and just get it off into the lake?
No.
What?
I said.
Okay. Is that better?
No, I said something about Captain Crunch and
Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
I would say you
you
know
got
exactly
good
who that
neighbors.
captain is.
I don't understand why you didn't give me my laugh sound effect. And stop calling me fat.
I didn't.
I'm gonna have
I didn't.
this. I'm having enough of this.
I didn't call you fat.
This is. I need one of those over here.
No, you do not.
Yes,
no, you
I
do
do.
not. You have to work your way up.
So
You're almost there, but not quite.
So, I just had a thought.
What?
Nope. I want to surprise you next week.
No. Just go ahead and say it now.
Nope.
Just go ahead and say it
It's
now.
going to be fun next week.
Oh, well, yes, it is. Well, it's fun this week. It's fun every week.
It'll be funner than hell.
That's even not a word.
It's going to be fun.
We're going to talk about some possible fake celebrity deaths.
Okay.
Can you guess who number one is on this
Elvis.
list? Oh, that's number two. That's a really good guess.
Dang it.
Marilyn Monroe.
That's on the
Andy
list,
Kaufman.
but no. Michael Jackson.
Really?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson passed away June 25th, 2009 due to an overdose. The death was allegedly staged by Michael Jackson to get out of debt and live the rest of his life in peace and tranquility. In 1993 and 2003, Jackson was accused of child molestation. How old were you in 93? Were you ever in California?
I was 8.
Did you ever go to Neverland Ranch?
Nope.
In both cases, his guilt wasn't proven. These events and constant changes in his appearance, changing skin color and face shape, were reasons for baiting that had been going on for years. Every year, new proof, and it's in quotation marks, believing he is still alive appears. Last year, it was a selfie his daughter Paris took, in which conspiracy theorists managed to see Michael. This year, the internet was blown away by the shot of Sergio Cortez, and it caused a new wave of gossip and theories. What do you think? Michael Jackson dead or alive?
He's dead.
I think he is too. Have you ever saw the video? He's supposedly getting out of the van at the coroner's office. Yeah, there is a video, and they claim, and somebody does jump out of the back of the van and go in the coroner's office. Now, you had a lot of Michael Jackson lookalikes, and they claim that that was recorded after he died, and that was uploaded on the internet way after he died.
I think if anybody could do it, I definitely think Elvis.
Okay.
But I think
now,
money-wise, I think they could do it if they wanted to.
Now, there is the third one on this list I think could be very possible. The second one is Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley died on August 16, 1977 due to an overdose. The singer allegedly staged his death to retire from annoying show business and to go fully into his spirituality beliefs. The theory about his fictitious death in 1977 is supported by several facts. These include confidential medical investigations on his cause of death, the absence of photos of the singer's dead body, and the wrong middle name on the gravestone, Aaron, spelled A-R-O-N, instead of A-A-R-O-N. Right after the death of the king of rock and roll, Jimmy Ellis appeared in performances. He resembled the idol not only in body type, but also identical voice. This singer always appeared wearing a mask, both on stage and in public, which is why many people thought that it was Elvis himself. Elvis Presley, dead or alive?
Dead.
I think he's dead.
I think there's a possibility he could have faked his death.
Yeah, because he could have pulled off a truck driver.
Well, there's just too many unanswered questions.
He already had the hair. All he needed to do was, sleeveless shirt, some blue jeans, and hop into the Peterbilt and take off across the country. They'd never know.
Do you
Peter
think
built a truck for a man to drive?
That's right. See, she said a truck for a man to drive, not a minivan for a woman to drive.
I have a truck, but I also have a work vehicle. Okay. So relax.
Do you think that if he had faked his own death, that he would have come back before now? I mean, just imagine how much. Well, I mean, and I do know that Graceland gets a lot of money annually.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think he had enough money. Yeah, he could buy an island.
Do you think if he did fake his own death, that if he actually dies, we'll ever know that? You think that will ever be told?
That's a good question. Possibly, that'd be the time to announce that he faked his own death.
I mean, at this point, he'd have to be what, 80 years old?
Well, yeah,
yeah. But
so,
what do you be around?
I don't think so.
Hey, dude, no, he could still be alive at this point.
I don't think so.
Yes, he could.
How?
Well, I mean,
dude,
people in their 80s, my grandfather turned 87 earlier in the week.
I understand that, but he also didn't party like a rock star and eat fast food all the time.
Well, but Elvis, if he is alive, or if he could be alive, he had. Well, and I think that you're right, but I'm saying, if he could have pulled this off, he had money to have doctors.
He's the person that could.
So
I agree.
Now, this one on the list, I think this one's very possible that they could still be alive. Princess Diana. She died August 31st, 1997. She died in a car accident in Paris. Many people think that Princess Diana really got into an accident that night, but that she didn't die. Her injuries were not fatal, but they were life-threatening, but she survived. Instead of Diana, another woman was buried. Are you okay? Okay. And the surviving princess left for the USA, where she now leads a simple life, communicating with her sons from time to time. However, that's not the only conspiracy theory about her death. The version about her surviving is supported by facts. For example, she was buried in a closed casket coffin. Also, there are no other photos of Diana's dead body and no photos of her before her death, apart from a photo of a blonde woman in a car damaged in the accident. I think that one could be real. I think she could have survived that.
I don't think that one could be real because I don't think the royal family would have put on such a big showing and funeral procession, and there was a lot of political issues about that because they think that she was killed.
Yeah.
So I just don't think the royal family would get into faking it.
Well, what if the royal family didn't know it at the time? Because there was a closed casket, and Diana hated the limelight. She hated being followed by reporters.
I agree.
So just those two facts alone is why I think it could have been possible.
I don't know. I think old Elizabeth knew exactly who was in that coffin. She's in control over
that's
there.
me. I kind of think whether it was the royal family or the British government, I think she was killed.
Right.
Because at the time,
I think
she was more popular than the royal family.
Exactly.
Yes, she was.
And
exactly.
That gets her out of the way. You have a big royal funeral and all this, and, everybody's happy, except for...
But, then again, if anybody could fake it, it would be them. Somebody that has a whole lot of money.
Yes, you're right. What do you think?
I have no idea. Okay. I think, yes, it's possible she could have faked it.
I bet you bought a blue Princess Diana Beanie Baby, didn't you, when they came out?
I have no idea what that is.
You don't know what a Beanie Baby is?
I don't.
Are you serious? You've never heard of a Beanie Baby?
Is that an old thing? What is a Beanie Baby?
No. Okay. I thought you actually collect stuff and, look for deals to make money and all this stuff.
Not a Beanie Baby. What is a Beanie Baby?
You'll have to look it up.
I'm not looking it up.
Why?
Because I don't know what that is.
You don't, well, it's just something I made up. It don't exist.
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's not real.
I'm sure.
The next one on the list is Marilyn Monroe, and that's who we mentioned earlier in the show. On August 5th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe died from an overdose of barbiturates, and the official version of her death was suicide. At the time of her death, the sex symbol was suffering from mental disorders and was dependent on medicines. The post-mortem photos of the actress seem to be very suspicious to her fans. There are several theories, and the most popular one is that an unknown and chronically ill actress who looked like Marilyn was injected with a lethal dose of drugs and transferred to Marilyn's apartment. The real celebrity, pumped with potent sedatives, was then stolen by the Kennedy's people and sent secretly to Switzerland, where she was placed in a private and well-protected hospital. While there, she met Dr. Laube, Laube, a widower with 3 sons, and soon after she married him. They settled in Switzerland, and in the 70s, her spouse died. But she is still alive and in good health, enjoying her grandchildren from her adopted children. I would like for that one to be true. I don't think it is, but I would like for that one to be true.
Well, I think the mafia was involved in her death because she was doing John and Jack both.
Yes.
I mean, love her heart. She was in a heck of a lot of deep.
Yeah, well, see, I think it goes. I don't think it was the mafia. I think it was the government.
Now, let me ask you.
He was so controversial.
Well, supposedly Frank Sinatra was wrapped up with it, and Peter, what's his name? Peter
Frampton.
No.
Dude.
That other actor.
Peter Cottontail.
Oh, Peter Sellers.
No.
Weller.
But that was a good. No, those are all great answers.
Except for Peter Frampton.
Never mind.
Picklesheimer. It's Picklesheimer.
Peter Picklesheimer. I went to school with a boy named Peter Picklesheimer.
Now, if there was any on those that was true, I would like for that one to be true.
Yes, I agree.
And you can do some further reading on that, and we may talk about Marilyn Monroe's suicide death in a later episode. But there's a lot of material out there that claims too that she did that goes along with that she did survive, and that she actually orchestrated and killed Robert Kennedy. She paid to have that done. I mean, it's like a big deep rabbit hole.
That's interesting.
So
I always kind of wondered if LBJ didn't have something to do with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because he couldn't stand Jack.
No, he could not. And you never know. We were told that she died of suicide, but maybe she could have. Maybe she's still with us. How old would she be?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do people
Probably
in their 80s
90s.
still live?
She'd have to be in her 80s.
Yeah.
So she'd be in her
One in
80s.
the 30s, wasn't she?
So, she'd be
Yeah,
in her
she
80s.
was 30-something when she died, I guess.
So she'd be in her 90s.
She'd be 14. Let me figure that up.
She was born in the 30s, right?
Yeah, let me pull my shoes out.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Man, it stinks in here.
Continue.
Put your
I'm gonna-
shoes back on,
I'm gonna-
Cronkite.
I'm not sure when she
I'll
was
Google.
born.
You guys continue talking.
But I want to thank you guys again. We're going to wrap it up here in just a few, but I want to thank you guys again for coming by. Thank you very much. This has been one of my favorite shows that we've done so far. You guys have an open invitation. You're welcome back to Bunker Studios anytime that you want. Please come back. Coming up on the next couple of shows, we will have Rebecca Short, who I've met her on TikTok as well, and she's turned me on to something called the Awakening Map. And I actually showed you this. What was it, last week before last? And if you guys are not familiar with the Awakening Map, just Google Awakening Map and click on the picture of the map. And this is mind-blowing. I mean, you've got stuff from the Nazis to the pyramids being built to this past election to DARPA to Antarctica. I mean, it's like a whole chart how everything goes up, and it is fascinating.
You have to look that up.
Marilyn Monroe, by the way, was born in 1926, so she'd be 95?
So she
Sounds
may have
like it.
she may have passed away, but she could still be with us.
She could be. Yeah. Betty White's still with us.
Yeah, she is.
Sure.
Are you going to say something bad about Betty White?
No, why are you being crazy right now?
I don't know. You just
Oh,
always.
don't say nothing about Betty White. I'll start throwing hate.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about Betty White. I just said Betty White's still with
You
us.
say
She
something
was
about Betty White, I'll come
She's
over
my
and kick you
aunt.
right in the balls.
Pikeville Comic Con and Toy Con. Listen, no,
You can go ahead and read that.
no, I wasn't saying anything bad about Betty Con. Betty Con.
Betty.
Wasn't saying anything bad. I know Betty Con. She lives down the street.
That's
I know-
Eric C. Con's mama.
I know. I wasn't saying anything bad about Betty White. I was saying simply that she is in her 90s and she was a actress. And
You never said she was an actress. The only thing you said, Betty White's still alive.
you need to
my
let me
aunt.
finish talking, Goose, before you interrupt. That's bullshit. Let me tell you what I'm talking about.
All right, tell me.
We were talking about Marilyn Monroe, who was a sex symbol and an actress, singer, whatever she was, and then Betty White, same thing. That's what I was getting at.
Okay.
Where did Betty Coon come in?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you said Con. I
There
said
you
Coon.
This has been a great show.
This has went
Again, I
off the
want to
rails.
thank Old Man Cronkite and Pamela for stopping by. Next week's show, we're going to be having a roundtable. We don't know what subjects we're going to talk about yet. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396, or you can email.
You can email Goose at goose@heretotchewbubblegum.com or Cronkite at heretotchewbubblegum.com. You can reach out to Ned or Elliot, heretotchewbubblegum.com or heretotchewbubblegum at yahoo.com. Attention, Ned or Elliot in the subject line. Our website, heretotchewbubblegum.com. You can also reach us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And also, the announcement,
Oh, wait 1 second. I
was getting ahead of myself.
On the Roundtable show next week, we will be joined by Justin Perkins of Talk Junkie and Elliot of Elliot's Articles and the new upcoming podcast, The Spooky Family. You may proceed.
Pikeville Comic Con and Toy Con.
Wait. Sorry, I forgot. Also, you can contact us at those emails and phone number listed just a few minutes ago and give us a topic that you want us to discuss on the Roundtable show next Sunday. Be sure to have those in by Thursday. Were you saying something?
You need a dick. Pikeville Comic Con and Toy Con.
Go ahead.
This is usually where I get to and you cut me off.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Their website is pikevillecomiccon.net. They also have a Facebook page or contact the e-store Comic and Tech Shop on Facebook or call 606-263-4946 for more information. Now, we will be there. It's on July 31st, right?
Yes. I think it's from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. But we're going to close out the show. Again, thank Old Man Cronkite and
Thank
Pamela.
you. We had a great time.
Thank you guys very much. We want to say thanks to Carlin for all the voiceover work, to CK Uncle Bill and everyone at deadpit.com, T-Shirt Joe at fastcustomshirts.com. Be sure to check out Talk Junkie with our friend Justin Perkins, and Down on the Holler with Jordan, Brad, and Jordan. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week, and until then, so long for now.
We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.